Mirrors don't flip left and right, they flip a direction nobody names. Stand in front of a mirror. Raise your right hand. The reflection raises the hand on your right side, which, if that were a real person facing you, would be their left. Almost nobody gets the explanation right. Here's what should bother you more. The mirror flips left and right. It doesn't flip up and down. Why? Why does it know about horizontal but not vertical? Here's the answer: it doesn't do any of that. Most people say mirrors reverse left and right because they're mounted vertically on the wall. Lay the mirror on the floor and it would flip up and down instead. That's partially true, but it misses the real point. The mirror isn't choosing an axis. Here's what a mirror actually does. It reflects light straight back along the direction it came from. Shoot a laser perpendicular at a mirror, the beam comes straight back at you. If the mirror's on the wall in front of you, that perpendicular direction is forward and back. The mirror flips one axis, the axis perpendicular to its surface. So when you stand facing a mirror, the axis being flipped is front and back. The z-axis, if you want coordinates, your nose is closest to the glass. The image of your nose is also closest to the glass, but the image of the back of your head is now in front of your image's face. The mirror has turned you inside out along that one axis. Think of it like this. If you could peel yourself like a glove and lay the inside surface on top of the outside, that's the mirror image. It's not a rotation. It's an inversion, a mathematical reflection through the plane of the glass. Every point maps to its mirror twin across that plane, and only that plane. So why does it look like a left-right swap? Because your brain refuses to accept the front-back inversion. You see a person in the mirror. You know people can rotate left and right. You do it every day. You can't conceive of a person who's been inverted front to back, turned inside out like a sock. Your visual system doesn't have a model for that. So your brain does something remarkable. It takes the front-back inversion and reinterprets it as a left-right rotation. It imagines you walked around behind the mirror and turned around to face yourself. That's a 180-degree rotation about a vertical axis, a yaw rotation. That rotation produces a left-right swap. Your brain substitutes that for the actual inversion. Richard Feynman explained this in a famous interview. He said the mirror doesn't know left from right. It doesn't know up from down. It only knows the direction perpendicular to its surface. The left-right flip is something you do in your head. The mirror is innocent. Here's a thought experiment. Hold an arrow pointing right. Its reflection also points right. Hold an arrow pointing up. Its reflection also points up. Now point an arrow directly at the mirror. Its reflection points back at you. Only the arrow perpendicular to the glass gets flipped. That's the whole story, geometrically. But here's where it gets strange. What do we even mean by left and right? They're not absolute directions in space. They're defined relative to a body. Your left is on one side of your chest. Turn around, and your left is now where your right was. Left and right are body relative coordinates, not universe relative ones. Up and down, by contrast, have an absolute reference. Gravity. Close your eyes and you still know which way is down because you feel it. There's no equivalent for left and right. No force tells you which side is left. Left and right are purely conventional, defined by your orientation. That asymmetry between up-down and left-right is the key. If human beings were radially symmetric, like starfish, with no distinguishable left or right, the question would never come up. A starfish looking in a mirror would see a starfish. No left-right confusion, because there's no left and right to begin with. The confusion exists because we're bilaterally symmetric. Our left and right sides are approximate mirror images of each other. Try this. Write a word on a piece of paper and hold it up to a mirror. The text is reversed. Now write the same word on a window, on the glass itself, and look at it from the other side. It's reversed too. The mirror didn't reverse the text. You reversed the text when you turned the paper around to face the mirror. The mirror just showed you what was already there. Here's a test that breaks the illusion. Lie on your side in front of a mirror. Your head is now on the left, your feet on the right. The mirror image has its head on the left and feet on the right too. Now ask yourself, did the mirror flip up and down? In your rotated frame, what was up is now pointing left, and the mirror didn't flip it. The mirror only ever flips the axis pointing at the glass. The mirror doesn't know about gravity. It doesn't know about the floor or the ceiling. It doesn't know about your left hand or your right hand. It's a flat surface that reflects every ray of light back along the path it arrived. The direction perpendicular to that surface is the only one that gets inverted. And that direction depends on where you put the mirror, not on any property of you. So the full answer. The mirror flips front and back, the axis perpendicular to its plane. Your brain interprets this as a left-right swap because it can model a person rotating around a vertical axis, but it can't model a person being inverted front to back. An up-down doesn't get swapped because the axis perpendicular to a wall-mounted mirror is horizontal, not vertical. Mount a mirror on the ceiling and look up at it. Your image would be upside down, not because the mirror decided to flip up and down, but because the axis perpendicular to the ceiling is vertical. The mirror always flips the perpendicular axis. Wall mirrors just happen to be oriented, so that axis is front-back. Here's one that makes it visceral. Put a rubber glove on your right hand. The mirror shows a glove on the hand that's on your right side. If that were a real person facing you, that would be their left hand. But it's not a person. It's an inversion. The glove is still on your right hand. The mirror hasn't moved it. In coordinate terms, the mirror transforms x, y, z to x, y, negative z. It negates one coordinate, the one perpendicular to its plane. A left-right swap would be negative x, y, z. An up-down swap would be x, negative y, z. The mirror does none of those. It does x, y, negative z. The left-right interpretation is a fiction your brain constructs after the fact. And here's where the story gets bigger. The mirror flip isn't a property of optics. It's a property of cognition. The light does exactly what physics says. The interpretation, the sense that something has been swapped, happens entirely in your visual cortex. You're not seeing the mirror. You're seeing your brain's best guess about what the mirror shows. Your brain has a model of what other bodies look like. When it sees a human shape in the mirror, it assumes that shape is another person facing you. A person facing you has their left hand on your right side. So your brain labels the image's hand accordingly. But the image isn't a person facing you. It's a depth-inverted copy of you. The label is wrong. This is a version of theory of mind, your brain projecting a body schema onto an image. You automatically model what it would be like to be the person in the mirror. The easiest way to get there, the path of least resistance, is to imagine walking around behind the glass and turning around. That mental walk-around is what creates the left-right swap. The philosopher Martin Gardner wrote about this in The New Ambidextrous Universe. He pointed out that the mirror paradox is really a paradox about handedness, chirality. Molecules can be left-handed or right-handed. A mirror doesn't change a molecule's chirality by rotating it. It changes it by inverting depth. But we describe the result as a handedness flip because chirality is the vocabulary we have. So what does this mean for the idea of reflection? We think of a mirror as a tool that shows us the truth, what we really look like. But the mirror shows an inversion that our brain misreads as a rotation. The most honest surface in your house is showing you something your visual system can't accurately represent. You've never seen what you actually look like. Every time you've checked your hair, adjusted your collar, looked yourself in the eye, you've been looking at a front-back inverted version of yourself that your brain quietly rotated into something familiar. The person in the mirror doesn't exist. There's no one there. There's a flat surface returning your photons and a brain assembling them into a fiction. So to state it cleanly, mirrors flip the axis perpendicular to their surface. For a wall mirror, that's front and back. The left-right swap is a cognitive reinterpretation. Your brain replaces an impossible inversion with a plausible rotation. Up and down are never involved because the mirror doesn't orient itself to your body. Your body orients itself to the mirror. The deeper lesson is that perception isn't passive. You don't receive an image and display it. You construct an interpretation, and that interpretation is shaped by what your brain finds plausible. A front-back inversion isn't plausible. You've never seen one. A left-right rotation is plausible. You do it constantly. So the brain swaps one for the other, and you never notice the substitution. That's why the question feels like a riddle even after you hear the answer. The physics is simple, one axis, negated. But the riddle lives in the gap between what the light does and what your brain tells you it sees. That gap is where most of perception lives. The mirror is just the place where it becomes visible. So here's the question that should stay with you. If your brain can silently replace an inversion with a rotation and never tell you, what else is it replacing? How much of what you see right now is the world? And how much is a story your visual system decided you'd find more believable? If this changed how you think about something you see every day, subscribe. The next one might too.